The world is going crazy. We look around it and there is so much uncertainty, so much that troubles us. In our quiet moments, we know it's true. We're looking for hope, looking for meaning, looking for purpose, looking for a certain word regarding the future. As we look at the prophecies relating to the Middle East, as we look at prophecies relating to the stream of time and history, speak to us deep within inside and give us that certainty we look for in Christ's name. Amen. Our topic tonight is the exploding Middle East, an ancient king's dream, and the future. You know, we're living in a new world. The 21st century has been called by many the century of fear. You can remember, no doubt, where you were on that fateful day in September 2001 when the World Trade Center was attacked. Worldwide terrorist attacks have really changed our world. They've created a sense of fear and uncertainty. The day the world changed, September 11, 2001. Do you remember where you were when those planes crashed in to the World Trade Center? I was lecturing in the city of Denver, Colorado, to a group of pastors, and somebody said, a plane crashed into the World Trade Center. We quickly turned on the TV, and then we saw the second plane hit the second Trade Center. We then learned that this would become the deadliest terrorist attack in American history. It took 2,974 lives. Another 24 are missing and presumed dead. But that was not the end of the terrorist activity. Although there in the center of New York City, the city was engulfed in the smoke of that attack. The twisted steel, the broken glass, the smashed concrete littered the sidewalks of the city, giving to us a memory of the horror of that day. On that same day, we learned that the terrorists also attacked the Pentagon and flew a plane into the Pentagon. I was with an international television program during those years. It is written television. So we immediately came and flew to Washington, and I was able to go out with the CNN and ABC and NBC cameras, and we were able to film that and tried to bring America hope and tried to bring America a sense of peace. We went out to the Annapolis and interviewed the chaplains of the Navy and said, how do you get through this grief? How do you get through this despair? How do you get through this sorrow? How can the nation recover from something that has put such an indelible hurt in our soul? I learned of Melody Homer. Melody was the co-pilot's wife on the American flight that went down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. So we called Melody, and I said, Melody, can I come to your home? I'd like to spend some time with you. And we came, and we shared counsel and guidance, but particularly, she shared with us how her faith was still strong. Her emotions were raw. Tears would roll down her face, but she shared how her faith was able to get her through that crisis. The attacks of September 11 led the United States into the deadly Iraq War, which really has gone on for years and still has not consummated yet. These terrorist attacks, since the 9/11 attacks, have become increasingly more frequent. Have you noticed all over the world where there is uncertainty? I think back in the last 15 years. There is the terrorist attack in London, July 7, 2005, where the underground, where a bomb went off in the underground, and where all of England was put on alert. Or you think of Madrid, Spain, and the terrorist attack on March 11, 2004, that took place in the train station there. Deadly attacks in a famous tourist resort in Bali, Indonesia, in both 2002 and 2005. Again, very deadly terrorist attacks. It seems that one is not safe anywhere today. And then the Boston Marathon bombing in 2013, certainly, if not directed by ISIS, certainly an ISIS-inspired terrorist attack. More and more of these attacks are becoming inspired by ISIS or radical Islamic terrorists. You think of France and Paris, the Charlie Hebdo shooting with so many killed there, and the hostage crisis in Porta de Vincennes in France. All around us today, there is uncertainty. This is a new day. We have seen ISIS rise, and it's brought a new dimension to the Middle East conflict and terrorism. The ISIS forces have struck fear into the average Iraqis. And I want to look at tonight what's behind this worldwide terrorism. Why is it that radical Islamic terrorism has spread so rapidly? Now, don't misunderstand me. I spend a lot of time in the Middle East. I've just come back from Beirut in Lebanon, spent a lot of time there, spent a lot of time in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, spent time in Jordan. We're going next year on another trip to Jordan. And so here's what I've discovered. Most of our Muslim friends are kind, loving, peace-loving people. They want the best for their families. But there's a certain ideology that we're going to look at tonight that has inspired these radical Islamic terrorists. You know, when you see the impact of the ISIS beheadings and this terror propaganda that has brutalized us all, you step back in fear and you say, how can human beings accomplish such hideous acts? The ISIS trail of terror, both through Iraq and now that it's being defeated in Iraq, going to Syria, and now into northern Africa. Let's go, though, back and try to understand a little bit of the psyche of Saddam Hussein. Let's look beyond the political news, and once we understand his psyche, it'll help us to understand a little bit about the rise of ISIS in the context of a larger Middle East crisis. You know, Baghdad was just an incredibly beautiful city. Tigris River flows through the center of Baghdad. It was one of the lush, most beautiful cities in all of the Middle East. It was, I say is, but it really is inaccurate. It was a city of 7 million people. Today, many have left Baghdad because of the uncertainty in the city. When you go there, the people are just wonderful. They're warm. The Middle East is a place of hospitality. 97% of the population of Iraq is, of course, Muslim. But, you know, when you look at the kids and you see the look on the faces of these children, they don't want war. They want peace. They're like your kids and my kids. You know, they want to go out and play sports and play soccer. They want a stable society to live in. But names of places that we never knew in the American news before, like Fallujah, where we fought some incredibly bloody battles, or names of cities like Ramadi, have just dominated our thinking process since the beginning of the Iraq War. We've seen those devastating images on television, and we've said to ourselves in our quiet moments, what's behind all this? What really inspires an ideology of hate and death and bloodshed? What's behind the bloody wars that are there? What's behind the detonation of these explosives? What is behind all of this? As we have asked those questions ourselves, let's go back and look at the psyche of Saddam Hussein. Saddam had an interesting hero. His hero was Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar, the ancient Babylonian king. Saddam's ambition was to bring Iraq into dominance in the Middle East. Now, this is quite an amazing picture. It's a photograph of a billboard. On the left-hand side, you'll see Saddam Hussein. In the center, an Arab sheik, and on the right, Nebuchadnezzar. Now, Nebuchadnezzar was a Babylonian king who in 605 BC attacked Jerusalem, and in 587 destroyed Jerusalem. Saddam Hussein found as his hero this king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar. Saddam minted a coin with two faces, his own and his hero's Nebuchadnezzar. So this is an actual picture of a coin minted by Saddam. And notice, you have Saddam here, and you have his hero, Nebuchadnezzar. The inscription on the coin is the New Babylon. Now that should give us a clue. Saddam's desire was to build a new Babylon that would not only dominate the Middle East, but it would dominate the world.